Hey guys, it's me, Pokemon. I'm back here today with ValleyFlyin to bring you the brand new Marvel Strike Force tier list for the Deadpool update. And we've got a lot of interesting things to show you guys today. Valley, what do you have to say about this tier list?
There's a lot more characters on this list because you put all those minions on there. I like it. It's complete now.
We finally decided, I was thinking, Ronan was a little lonely down there, so let's put the minions in there so he has some friends to hang out with in the F tier.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of those aim characters, shoot
Oh,
characters.
why don't we start out the video with the AIM characters and the fact that the AIM class as a whole sucks. They're garbage. They're so bad. What do you have to say about the AIM class?
We got one character in the E class.
Oh yeah, I guess
they need a rework though. It's not just I've said this before. I like that Fox Next did something different, and in theory, it's kind of cool. In practice, they suck. Especially Scientist Supreme and some of these buffs that just last for so long. It just hurts the whole team.
Yeah, they have an interesting mechanic where, generally speaking, the AIM characters debuff themselves, but then somehow they'll flip them to a buff or they'll transfer the debuff to enemies. But it doesn't work in practice. That just why pick them when you could just pick like the Hand, who are a pretty great class, and just damage the people without hurting yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the Hand is really good. If you just took minions, the Hand team is far and above even some of the characters. It's just because they have good synergy with each other. But AIM, I mean, I use them. I use them on the bottom tier of Blitz, and they manage to win teams that are higher power than them. But other than that, I don't really see a use for them at this point. Some of these shield characters are pretty bad too. I know a lot of people like shield security, but he just doesn't scale well. As you get to the higher levels, he just is not a good character. I mean, he's pretty usable in the beginner and intermediate stage of the game. He just doesn't scale well. And then, the other two shield guys, Shield Assault, Shield Trooper, just not very good. And then who else we got? We got Kree Oracle down there.
Yeah.
Just a bad healer. He does regeneration. That's his heal.
I forgot he was even in the game.
I use him on my low-level Blitz team, so I got him there. But yeah, he doesn't offer too much there.
I mean, most of these characters you'll just find are mediocre at best, and really the only role they have in the game is for your low-level Blitz, or maybe they can support another, like Hydra. Once Red Skull comes around, maybe we'll be using the Hydra characters a little more, but as of now, most minions are relatively useless, except for some standout ones.
There's some few. I mean, you got some here in the D class that are pretty good. I mean, even a few of them in the E class, they have their uses. We got Shield Operative in the E class. Now, if you're talking about specific missions, she goes boom right up to S class.
The escort missions, what do they call them? Defend missions?
Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but the ones that you got to keep somebody alive.
Mm-hmm.
She's an S tier in that mission. Other than that, she's an okay character. I mean, maybe you could make the argument you could bump her up to D, but not too much higher than that based on who else is in the classes there. I mean, this tier list, the C tier gets pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't bump her more than a D.
Yeah, you'll find Nebula. I did move up to C class. Originally, I thought she was okay, but when I had her in D class and then we put the minions in here, I was like, Nebula's definitely better than these minions. And Bullseye could arguably be moved up, but I think he could use... I get what they're going for with him, where he's very strong in terms of attack, but then he has very low defense. But I think his defense is just so low that you'd have a lot of trouble pulling off Bullseye's big moves without people to support him.
Yeah, Bullseye definitely needs to be in the right team. He's not a bad character. I mean, to be fair, he could be up in the C class. D is a little harsh for him, but he doesn't offer too much. He does give that buff on his passive to the rest of the mercenaries, and then he has some big damage.
Very big damage.
Yeah, I mean, he's better. He's at the top of this D class, or at the bottom of the C class, but he's definitely better than Punisher and the rest of the characters on this list. Yeah, I mean. He's right around where he should be.
I think the two standout minions, though, are Hand Sentry and Mercenary Lieutenant. Hand Sentry, it's because of his group, what would you call it, invisibility?
Smoke bomb.
Yeah,
Just
smoke
stealth
bomb.
everybody.
Isn't that why everybody likes him? Is that because it helps out your like the squishy guys pull off their big skills?
It does. Plus, it gives them evade. So even if you get around that, there's gonna be a few characters that still have evade on there, and it's gonna help them. You know, you're making moves like Yondu's big AOE ineffective when they're all in stealth. You're stopping any chain attacks when they're all in stealth. So the only thing that you can hit those stealth characters with is with an adjacent attack or a big AOE. It's just a very effective move, and I like that it's different than most of the tanks where you have a taunt, because you can't remove that from him unless you have someone like Han Archer that could do a team-wide AOE dispel.
Or well, can Yondu grab invisibilities?
He can grab it and take it off of him, but his AOE is not going to hit them when they're in the stealth.
Oh yeah, Yondu's AOE only hits people that are visible, right?
Yeah, but yeah, he can do that. He's went into stealth a few times, and I've seen that. He steals that sometimes just. So yes, he can remove that with his passive there.
And then next up was Mercenary Lieutenant, and he's kind of like a Black Widow Jr., and in some ways, even he's a different kind of Black Widow, because what's interesting about him is he actually provides a attack buff to his team along with a speed up boost, doesn't he?
Yeah, that offense up is big. The only people that can do that to the whole team is him and Kingpin. Most people have Kingpin up at that god tier just for that move. Mercenary Lieutenant does that same thing, and he gives speed up. So I really like him as a character. It's just he doesn't have the tags to be up on that S tier for me, at least. But he's a really, really solid character. Deserves that A spot. Yeah, he's one of the best minions.
Yeah, I mean, he's a solid pickup for your teams, because he can support nearly any team he's put on. He can kind of go wherever to a certain extent, and he can just improve whatever team you do have.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be in a mercenary squad. You could put him wherever.
Now, I guess probably the most interesting part of this tier list would be Deadpool and Cable, the brand new characters that have come to Marvel Strike Force. Now, I know a lot of people put Deadpool in S tier, and he's definitely a strong character, and I think you could make an argument for S tier for Deadpool, but I just don't think he's as game-changing as a lot of S tier characters are, but he has some really interesting stuff in his kit. The fact that he's really strong against minions makes him a strong pick for raids. And I really like his one skill. What's it called? The one where he hits the lowest health person.
Yeah, it's his ultimate. I don't remember the name either, but it is a very good skill. And I've only used him at the lower levels, and he pretty much kills whatever I've targeted with him at the lower levels. Obviously, at the higher levels, he's not going to be able to do that, but it's a great skill. Gets around taunts, gets around your tanks. I haven't tried him against the hand team, but I'm sure it gets around stealth as well. So it's a very strong move.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, let's say you have that Quake coming up with that ultimate, and you're like, oh geez, Quake's gonna ult, and then Drax just taunted. Well, as long as you have Deadpool on your team, he's still gonna attack Quake as long as you've hit her beforehand, so you have her the lowest health on the team.
Yeah, he's really, really good. I like him. S or A is where he belongs. He's a good character. He belongs in either one of those.
Yeah, he might even help in Campaign, because Campaign has a lot of minions in it. And, I mean, a lot of his skills do bonus effects against minions. Like, his basic attack will always crit, at least the bonus attack will. If he's attacking a minion with his AoE attack, he'll apply bleed to them. So he's just a solid minion counter, essentially.
Yeah, and he's got some regeneration as well from his passive, as well as clearing some of the negative effects on him. So,
I mean, yeah, he just got about everything you could want.
Yeah, he's a good addition to that brawler class.
And Cable, now I've also seen people put him pretty high, and I definitely think he's a strong character. But again, like Deadpool, I don't necessarily think he's meta shifting. But he definitely has a lot of really interesting things in his kit, and he has some really strong skills. Two of probably the coolest things that Cable can do is, first off, he messes with the enemy team's speed meters a lot. Like, he can decrease them up to like 70%, 50%. A lot of his skills decrease the speed meters. And his third skill, Psychic Surge, it teams up with Deadpool's. So if he does it and Deadpool's on a team, Deadpool will assist. And with Deadpool assisting, that can do a massive amount. I mean, it's crazy how much damage his ultimate can do. So he's an excellent character. What do you think about Cable?
Yeah, I think A or S is where he belongs as well. I mean, they gave us 2 really good characters with this last update. I like him. That speed, I like that he does that speed. Speed is important right now in the game. That's why Black Widow is so strong, because she gives everybody that speed buff. Cable messes with the other team's speed and really can cripple them, because he's taking away a bunch of speed meter from them with a few of his attacks. He's really good. And then he's got that synergy with Deadpool, and then his passive can help both of the mutants, Deadpool and Wolverine, giving them counter. So I think if you're running them, you know, right now I don't have them leveled, so I don't run them too high. But if you're running them, I think Deadpool and Cable should be on a team together, especially if you're running them on a high level team.
Yeah, I mean, once they're together, it's a dynamic duo, man. They're crazy good.
Really good
when they're
synergy.
together.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Now, I don't think we're going to go over all the S tier. If you're curious why we put people there, you can look at the past videos. The S tier hasn't changed that much, but I know Valley feels a little different about Crossbones than I do.
See,
Valley, what's your opinion on him?
Yeah, I don't think he belongs in the S tier. I think he belongs down into A, because you're basing him on one big move. And on one of the teams, I've used him and Jessica Jones. So he's getting that big move right at the start. And when I hit the other team, and granted, I'm using him in Blitz, so I'm going against teams that have a bunch more power than he does. I hit them with his Detonate. They're still in green. They're not even dropping down to yellow for some of these characters. So if his move is not really damaging him that much, it really diminishes it. And for me, I think he belongs in the A tier.
Personally, for me, when I actually just recently switched up my team for competitive modes like Arena. I used to go with an Avengers team, but then I realized Hulk and Thor really weren't lifting their weight, especially against some of these stronger teams. So I switched to a new team now where I use Black Widow, Captain America, Yondu, Quake, and Crossbones. So what happens with my team is Yondu, well, first off, Captain America gives some bonus energy to the team. And then Yondu AoEs, and then Quake AoEs, and then Crossbones AoEs. And it's like, for me, that works very well, but I can understand how if you don't have the right setup for Crossbones, he's maybe not the best character.
Yeah, so using him in the right team, obviously, any of these characters with right synergy and using him in the right team, you could move them up to S class or move them down if they have bad synergy. And, you know, you got 3 big AoEs right there. Yeah, they're gonna do some damage. For me, he's the only big AoE on the team that I use him in, and he's going right on turn 1, and then after that in the battle, it's just kind of recovering from that. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're using him in a team like that, you'd have a lot more value. Very similar to my Arena team, except I have Hawkeye in instead of Crossbones.
Yeah.
Those other 4 characters are really solid, but he's a good character. You know. There's a lot of good characters in A tier. Yeah, Kingpin's really good. Doctor Strange is really good. Hawkeye's really good. You know, you got Deadpool and Cable that we talked about. They're really good as well. A is a good class. There's a bunch of good characters in there. I mean, I'm looking at this list right now. Every single character in that A tier is pretty good. The B tier is actually decent as well.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Good tiers there. Who else? Jessica Jones. I gotta say, I'm really happy that you moved her up. And I think you could move her up even more. She's a really good character.
Even more.
Even more. She has, her and Han Archer have the best dispel in the game. They have way extra focus. It's not something that's talked about, but with the data miners, they looked at the data. I think they have extra 10,000 focus or something, those two. So they could remove Thanos' taunt, no problem.
Wow.
And she has a team-wide dispel, giving energy, and on her basic, she gives energy. She's not going to do a lot of damage. She's pretty squishy, so those are the 2 drawbacks with her. But just giving energy, dispelling, and she's a solid character. I like her.
I moved her up, especially because there was one time where I was going against, I think it was a Crossbones, and so I'm kind of keeping mental track of how much energy he has. and how long I have until he AoEs. Because, like, if he did that, that'd be pretty bad for my Thor or my Quake. And I was like, alright, so I got, like, 3 more turns before he AoEs. And then Jessica Jones did her 1 skill, and she gave him 2 energies.
Yeah.
So then he
that energy could go to the same character. It doesn't need to go to 2 different characters. It could go, boom.
I mean, I was like, no! and he just blew up my entire team. It completely threw off my plan. So she definitely, I mean, when you put her with the right character, she definitely helps out the team a lot.
Yeah, I'm running her in a team with Thanos, Wolverine, Winter Soldier, and Crossbones.
Yeah.
And that's my C team right now, and they do pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Against the right teams. Obviously, you run into Drax with the team I just mentioned. It's kind of over. They're not really getting around him because she's the only dispeller. Who else on this list?
I think we've covered most of the new changes to the list. Yeah. I think if you guys are interested about a lot of the reasons why we put characters, we have talked about a lot of the characters before in the past videos because there weren't a ton of balance changes in between these 2 patches. Was there anyone that was balance changed? Like, did anyone have... Oh, Korath, he got a slight... They fixed a bug on him.
Oh, yeah. So if you level up his passive, he's going first. Before Black Widow, before anybody. He's going first because he starts off with speed up. Now, I think that was always on his passive, but I don't know if it worked right.
Yeah, I think there was some glitch or something with it. I don't really understand.
Yeah, so I think they just made it work correctly, but he's going first no matter what. I mean, even Black Widow, she's getting speed up on her first turn, so then she's going to be faster, but on turn 1, Korath is the fastest character in the game, so he could heal block, he could slow. There's a bunch of things he could do.
He can mark someone with a taunt, so that way even if the tank taunts, you can still attack them.
Yeah, you got options on that turn 1, what you want to do. It just depends on who you're facing. Better now. Yeah, Korath actually, now that you mention that, you could make an argument. He could be bumped up to B now that
he could definitely be moved up there.
But, yeah, who else? Winter Soldier, I might move Winter Soldier down a little bit.
You think he's fallen off a bit in the current meta?
I think he has, just because he's, on turn 1, he's really solid. And there's not much you can do about it. You know, he could kill one of your squishy guys at turn 1. After that, though, not much of a threat because the AI is always going to use that big move right on turn 1. And if he doesn't kill, he's getting that heal block on your guy, but I think after that he kind of falls off.
Yeah, you think so?
I think either at the bottom of A or upper B is where he belongs, in my opinion.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about on this tier list, or you think we about covered everything?
Nah, I mean, you can make an argument for a few of these characters, but I think this is a pretty solid tier list again. You know, the big ones I think that people are going to stand out are Kingpin, Doctor Strange. I think a lot of people like them in the S tier.
I mean, they're definitely great characters.
They are. If you look at the A is still a solid tier in this list. And, yeah, I think most of the characters are within one spot of where they should be. You know, you can make an argument for a few of these characters, but one spot is the cutoff right there. So,
well, I guess we got a lot of interesting things to think about for next month then.
Yes, I think there can be a few changes, but we'll see what characters we get. We see what kind of balance changes we get, and see what happens with this list.
Hopefully, maybe by next month, the AIM characters will be buffed.
I hope not.
Imagine if they all
so much more to think about.
Crazy debuffs and everything. What if they imagine a world where AIM characters aren't bad.
Or Ronan.
Or yeah, poor Ronan too.
Man, he should be a good character. I don't know why they made him so bad. He's
I
so
forget
slow.
about him.
He's so slow. His attacks do nothing. It's just. His heal doesn't do anything unless you're in an all Kree team.
Yeah, he needs to be with Kree.
He needs a little bit of love. He needs a little bit of love.
Well, guys, if you've been really enjoying all this new Minion coverage on this channel, then you may get kind of excited because we're going to be talking about Minions on Valley's channel. So, I'm going to link that, and why don't you guys head over to Valley's channel after you guys have just watched this tier list to hear both him and I talk about our ideal Minion team. So, what do I know about this game, guys? I am just a 16-year-old. Valley, you want to end it off?
Thanks for having me on chat. I'm glad we're seeing your face now. Congratulations on your 1,000 subscribers. I know it happened a while ago, but I haven't been on your channel since then, so congratulations about that.
Yeah, exciting times, guys. Exciting times. Well, I'll see you on Valley's channel. Signing off, guys.